Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving right into something absolutely mind-blowing, the incredible reality of how one single microscopic cell manages to multiply and build an entire living, breathing organism. I mean, think about it for a second. Every plant and animal you see, including you, started as just one cell. Today, we're popping the hood, looking at the blueprints of life, and seeing exactly how nature pulls off this massive feat of construction. You see, it's really best to look at biological growth not as some sort of unexplainable magic, but as the ultimate efficiency hack. It literally is one of nature's greatest engineering marvels. These cells don't just randomly pile up on each other, they organize, they specialize, and they delegate tasks to keep the whole machine running smoothly.
But before we can read the blueprints, we gotta know our building materials, right? And that's where the tissue comes in. A tissue is basically just a crew of cells with a similar structure that gang up to perform a specific job. Think of it like a construction site. You've got your electricians, your plumbers, your framers. Well, a body has different tissues handling protection, movement, and transport.
And that brings us to the million-dollar question for today's Explainer. How does one totally unspecialized starter cell eventually divide to form everything? Skin, muscles, bones, nerves. How does it know what to become and exactly where to go? Here is our blueprint for today. We'll be looking at number 1, the Great Design Divergence. 2, the Architecture of Plants. 3, the Animal Action Network. 4, the Musculoskeletal System. And 5, cloning and future engineering.
Number 1, the Great Design Divergence.
It's wild, but the huge differences between plants and animals really just boil down to lifestyle choices. Plants are stationary. They just sit there, right? So they need stiff scaffolding, like rigid cell walls, to stand tall and catch sunlight to make their own food. But animals? We're on the move. We have to hunt, forage, escape, which means our tissues need incredible flexibility. So no rigid cell walls for us. It's two totally different lifestyles, leading to two completely different engineering solutions.
Number 2, the Architecture of Plants.
So, if plants are literally stuck in the mud, how do they reach for the sky or dig deep into the earth? What's the mechanism actually driving that upward and downward growth?
There's this classic experiment that answers this perfectly. Researchers put onion bulbs in water. The roots were growing great, but the second they snipped off just the very tips of those roots, boom, growth completely stopped. It's totally fascinating because it proved plants don't just grow evenly all over, like blowing up a balloon. They have these highly specialized growth zones called apical meristems right at the tips of the roots and shoots, constantly pushing the plant up and down.
But hey, plants don't just grow tall, they have to grow wide too. To bulk up, they rely on a different tissue called the lateral meristem. This stuff pumps out new cells in concentric circles inside the stem. We can actually see this perfectly preserved as a tree's annual growth rings. Every single ring you count is that lateral meristem hard at work. Now what happens if, say, an animal comes by and munches the top right off a plant? Nature engineered a brilliant backup plan called intercalary meristems. These are tucked away at the nodes of stems. It's exactly why a cut rose stem or your freshly mowed lawn can rapidly regenerate and bush out from the middle instead of just growing from the tips.
Okay, so once those cells are done dividing, they settle down into permanent supportive tissues to keep the plant upright. You've got parenchyma, which is soft and stores food. It even stores air so aquatic plants can float. Then there's collenchyma, packed with flexible pectin so young stems can bend in the wind without snapping. And finally, sclerenchyma. These are hard, dead cells with thick lignin walls. It's the tough stuff that gives us walnut shells and coconut husks.
Number 3, the Animal Action Network. Shifting gears to animals now. Because we move around so much, to avoid total biological chaos, our engine is meticulously organized into 4 highly specialized tissues. Epithelial tissue covers and protects, like your skin. Connective tissue binds and transports, which crazily enough includes solid bone and fluid blood. Muscular tissue handles movement, from flexing your biceps to the involuntary beating of your heart. And nervous tissue is the command center, firing communication signals all over the body. Number 4, the Musculoskeletal System. Let's actually test this out. Try this right now. Touch your elbow. That rock-solid feeling? That's bone matrix packed with calcium. Now, fold the top of your ear. That's cartilage, a softer, jelly-like cushioning. Now, wiggle your fingers and look at your forearm. Your arm muscles are literally pulling on biological cords called tendons that run down to your finger bones.
You are feeling your own connective tissues working together as a system of biological hinges and pulleys?
Here's a crazy stat to put that engineering into perspective. Even though your skeleton feels incredibly heavy and solid when you're running or jumping, your bones only account for about 12 to 15% of your total adult body weight. It's an absolute masterclass in lightweight, high-strength architecture.
Number 5. Cloning and future engineering. Everything we've talked about leads to this completely mind-bending concept, totipotency. This is the superpower of a mature, already specialized cell to essentially hit the reset button. It can unspecialize, start dividing again, and build a completely new organism from scratch. It proves that deep down, even a specialized cell holds on to the master blueprint for the entire body.
And this isn't just theory, by the way. Scientist F.C. Stewart proved it. He took a single, mature cell scraped right off a regular carrot root, dropped it into a nutrient medium, and waited. Slowly, that specialized cell reverted back to a blank slate. It started dividing, formed an embryo, and grew into a perfect cloned adult carrot plant that he actually planted in soil. One single cell rebuilt the whole shebang.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to wrap up today's explainer. If one single, microscopic cell holds the complete, unbroken blueprint to rebuild an entire organism, what else are we going to engineer? From fighting severe diseases with stem cells to engineering drought-resisting crops to feed the planet, if nature can build a whole breathing, living world from just one tiny building block, just imagine what we might build next. Let that sink in, and thanks for joining me.